What's up, everybody? You are here on with the Sotong sisters, Delia and Jazz, and we are here for another reviewed episode of the TV show This Is Us.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. So we had the first 4 episodes, then they took a little bit of a break, and then they just came back this week with episode 5. And there was a lot packed into this one episode 5, as they do every week, but definitely within this episode 5. I feel like the 2 main characters of this episode were Kate and Randall. I mean, Kevin had his little storyline, sprinkled on in there, but I felt like Kate.
You know what, though? As I was watching this week, I was cracking up every time Kevin even came on screen because I was thinking about how you feel about him and his character, and I just couldn't. I was like, oh my gosh, I know Dee is cringing right now.
Yo, it's just like, okay, let's just start with Kevin because whatever. I'm confused as to how they're confused as to what this living situation was going to be like with him as a flipping movie star.
Exactly. Like, why? How did we get here? Why are we here? How come y'all didn't know? Like, what?
Their whole relationship, he has been in and out, in and out. Like, even before they were together, he has been in and out because that's his job. What did you think he was going to do? Just have babies and stop working? Like, I don't understand why she was so confused. And then I didn't understand why he just felt like they would just be jet setting around the world with like 2 babies.
Yeah. I think it shows like their relationship. Like they don't have a relationship. Let's be honest. Like they just slapped these 2 people together and she's like, this is not the life I pictured for our family. And I'm like, what picture? Like when
did y'all discuss the picture? When did you have that conversation? Oh, wait, you didn't. You didn't have that conversation. Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think to me, it seems like, because they both kind of talked about, well, this was what I pictured. This is what I pictured. And kind of like saying basically like, oh, I'm in love with this idea of our family. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you guys are falling in love with ideas and dreams that are totally different, that don't exist in reality. And you're not falling in love with each other. Like they have no chemistry, no relationship. It's just like they both have these ideas of what it should be, and it's not that.
Right. No, I agree. And here's the thing, like, okay, so you got pregnant, you're having kids, you're trying to make it work. I get that, right? Lots of people find themselves in those situations. I understand wanting to make it work, but you have to have those conversations. Like you can't just jump into this thing and be like, yeah, we're on board. Let's do this, and not have those conversations. How are you going to bring your life and his life together with 2 babies? Not just 1, but 2 babies.
Yeah.
Why haven't y'all talked about this? I just don't get it. I don't get it. So that was that. And then, they tried to put the parallel, because they're always doing parallels, right? Between like the past and the present. So they tried to also bring in the parallel about what he went through with Sophie the first time around when they were younger, and how he went off to LA and then obviously never came back, and that's what kind of caused their divorce. So I was curious as to kind of what he would do at the end of this episode, which they didn't tell us yet, but I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out with his new decision. I also kind of liked that Randall didn't give him an answer when he called him.
Yeah.
Like he was looking for Randall to like give him an answer.
Yeah.
But Randall was like, look, man, I can't do that for you right now.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I think we're done with Kevin, right? Like, are we?
that was my segue.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really like their storyline is not keeping my attention at all. But I could see Randall during that conversation with Kevin. I could see him kind of like working out his therapy in real life, like the things that he's been practicing with his therapist. This is how it needs to play out in my family. These are the boundaries I need to draw. And in that moment, it was like, I can't say what you need me to say right now. I can't be there for you how you want me to show up. I need to handle that. You know what I mean? So you could see him kind of wrestling with that during the phone call. But still, like Kevin being like, did you really feel like that, bro, growing up? I'm like, you know what?
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
But yeah, I don't know. Randall's story, what did you think about the recent developments with his mom, Mama Randall?
Oh, I loved that. There were several things about it that I loved, and then there was also kind of like, meh. But I did like that they didn't make us wait too long to find out if she was alive or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we knew from the beginning of the episode that mom survived that whole
Mm-hmm.
situation, with her almost dying, giving birth to him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not giving birth, but in the days after,
Yeah.
because of overdose. But then she ended up dying anyway from breast cancer, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
dang, like that was hard to hear. I think, specifically for me too. But I thought so. I like that they didn't wait, but then there's still so much more because I mean, 2015 is only a few years ago. So there's his whole life that she was alive.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to find out since we're assuming, we're not assuming, but at this point we know William didn't really know, right, that she was alive.
Mm-hmm.
So what in the heck happened? Like, did she wake up in the hospital and was like, I'm not going back? Like, I'm just leaving my baby, I'm leaving my man, and I'm just gonna do something different with my life to be clean? Or did she try to find them? Because in the previous seasons, Williams was in the same, he was in the same location. He was
In
in that
that
same
same building.
apartment,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Like when Rebecca went in the past to visit him, he was still there. Even when
Mm-hmm.
Randall went to visit him, he was still there.
Mm-hmm.
So if Randall's mom had Laurel, right? It's Laurel
It's
or
I don't know.
Lauren. If Randall's mom had come back, he would have been there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, how are they gonna make this story work? Like, what is this
I
going?
don't know, but I am happy that Randall found out his daddy didn't lie to him.
Yeah,
He
girl,
told
when
him
he
what
when
he
he
thought was true. Yeah. That breakdown, he was like, oh, okay. Like, at least that was like some relief in the moment because like the rest of the story is wide open. Like he has no idea what happened to his mom. So
yeah,
at least he was kind of comforted, like, okay, my dad didn't lie to me. He told me what he thought happened. And now it's kind of like him and Beth, you could see Beth kind of getting excited, like, let's take this adventure on, like, let's get in it and find out what happened to your mom so that you can like have the closure that you need. But it was
yeah.
funny when she was like, you sure you don't want to call your therapist on this one? I think you need to call your therapist. Like,
Yep. And he walks away. He's like, "No, I'm gonna go for a run." And then
yeah.
he's like, "He gonna call his therapist."
I love her. I love Beth.
And I think that even the conversation with his therapist, I mean, just sitting and listening, and his therapist was listening to him and hearing what he had to say and understanding his journey, and him trusting his therapist to be able to ask the difficult questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like that relationship, we don't get a lot, but we're seeing, like you said, we're seeing evidence of it in how Randall is addressing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really like that they kind of let us into that conversation a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, especially that scene when they were on the bed and he was calling, and the guy was just like, I'd love to show you your mom's life and who she
Mm-hmm.
loved and what she loved. And just Beth and Randall just like with just looks,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, let's go. We'll come on out and we'll see. And I think you're right. With him knowing that he wasn't lied to by his father, it released a stress and a burden where now he can kind of enjoy the process of learning
Mm-hmm.
about his mom, as opposed to it being like a weighty,
Yeah.
negative thing. It now
Yeah.
can be like a joyful thing for him to learn about her life.
Yeah.
You know, hoping that, I'm like, maybe this is like a soap opera and she had amnesia and she just didn't remember nothing. And she,
Well,
like,
they
my mind
slightly,
goes to like soap opera level.
of course it does. Of course it does. They slightly alluded to it in the preview for next week's episode.
Okay.
But I try not to pay too much attention to those teasers because I want to be like fully surprised. So
Yeah, I don't watch any of the teasers, so I
yeah.
didn't see what they said for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm like, that has to be part of it, or I don't know. It doesn't have to be, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
that they'll put some of that in there. But yeah, that was a good moment. I also just got a picture of Jaewon in his like Superman, I don't know, in that body muscle suit at the beginning of the episode.
Yes. All of
Just like,
them
we are
cracking up.
counting,
Yeah.
counting on this man. as they should,
Right.
because you should have turned off your daggone iPad, sir.
Oh my gosh. But Kate, though, can we talk about her?
Let's talk about Kate. Okay. What do we want to say about Kate? I love that Kate is trying to take her power back. I don't know how realistic I feel like it was for her to track him down and then go visit him. But I do love that she's taking her power back from him. Like, that's huge, especially given what we know she went through. We saw a bit of the abuse that she went through, like verbally and even a little bit physically when she was with the guy when she was younger, right? We saw that. And so for her now as an adult, 20 something years later, you know, to open up to Toby. And I loved his questions. He was like, yo, we've been together for 4 or 5 years. Why have you never said anything?
Yeah.
And she was like, it wasn't that easy. I get that, you know, like it's not. It's especially with something like a teenage pregnancy and abortion. It's so taboo. It's so wrapped up in shame and embarrassment that women don't want to talk about it, even with their closest partner, you know? So I understood Toby's questions, not judgmental. I love that he didn't come from a judgmental place. He was really coming from like I just want to know, like, why didn't you tell me? Like, we talked about pregnancy and babies for so long. Why did it never come up? So yeah, I love that she was taking her power back. I just felt like the process of it was just a bit kind of like far-fetched.
Yeah, I first of all, I was like, well, why does she want to see him? Like, I get it, like you said, taking her power back, kind of having that resolution after so long. But I was like, this dude is a deadbeat. He was a deadbeat. He's still a deadbeat. Like, why waste your time and energy to go all the way there? Right. And even like his approach towards her, like, he's just trash. He's a trash individual. Like, I don't like this dude. So yeah, just seeing that play out, I was like, meh. But at least for her, she got what she needed. And I guess that was like the most important thing for her to be able to move forward. But I guess I'm curious to see how this whole resolution plays out with the adoption, which they didn't touch at all this episode.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I definitely like, you know, that she got her closure, but I agree. I am curious to see what that does for her moving forward and what that looks like moving forward, you know? Yeah, they didn't touch on the adoption at all. We didn't really see mom and dad at all. So none of that was in there. So that was interesting too. It really was an episode just about the 3 of them.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
And I think like one part that I remember in the flashback when she was a teenager after she got the abortion, and her mom walked in and was like, hey, I tried to call you, you know, you didn't answer. And she's crying on the couch saying that she's watching the movie and that's why she's crying. But you could tell like on mom's face, she's like, something ain't right. And so I don't know. I kind of want to see where things come to a head in their relationship with her as a teenager, because you can see kind of like things building and mom being like, nah, like there's something deeper going on here. Like what is it? You know what I mean? But she just brushes it off every time. So I want to see like how that plays out this season too.
That is true. You're right about that. I forgot about that part. Especially because when we first started the season, like the very first season, there was a lot of contention between Kate and her mom. And so you're kind of like, well, how did they get there? You know, like why was there falling out? Was there something that happened? Like what was it? So you're right about that. I forgot about that part.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how many more episodes they're doing for this season, because I also just heard, or not heard, but I read that they actually halted production again for several different TV shows in LA because of COVID numbers spiking. And I think This Is Us is one of them.
What?
So I don't know what the rest of the season is going to look like and how many episodes we're going to get, if this is going to be a regular season where we go till May or if we end early.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to be along for the ride. So
I know. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I need to hit up my TV Guru Connect AKA D, to figure out, you know, how many episodes we got left. Like I like to have that mapped out so I know, like, okay, this is where the ride is gonna stop. I need to be emotionally invested up to this point, because if not, I'll be expecting more and they'll be like, nope, season finale.
Yeah, like normally we get 18 episodes a season.
Okay.
So far, I think they've announced up to like 7.
What?
You know, so I have no idea because they haven't really released it. And this year is so different because anytime they get, you know, spikes in COVID, they got to shut down production.
Yeah.
So I heard that they just did that. So we'll have to see if that may also cause another like break in them putting out episodes, kind of like with the winter break. They might also do another one of those, maybe if they're not able to produce the episodes in time.
Right.
So we shall find out. But if y'all are enjoying our reviewed episodes on This Is Us, please stay tuned. We will keep you guys posted as we find out more and just kind of go through and talk about each episode as they come out. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to y'all next time.